A unique 4-grain recipe. Smooth up front with a little Kentucky kiss on the back. This is a bourbon for all of life's moments and celebrations. Available across the United States. We give back to those who wore the uniform and serve our communities.
The Lost Art Project, Veteran Voices with Andrew Cox. Preserving history, one veteran story at a time. Marine Corps League and Till Valhalla Project Ambassador. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast that's given a voice to our veterans. The Lost Art Project, Veteran Voices with Andrew Cox.
Hello, my friends. We have everybody here, and they're just going to ride with me on this intro. But if you're enjoying these podcasts, just make sure you go to the website. That's thelostart.podbean.com. Go check us out, see what we're all about. If there's a couple ways you can support us. You can go to our website there. You can click on the one-time donation link. Heck, you can become a patron with a monthly donation. You can go purchase some cool merchandise, or you can advertise right here on the podcast. A big shout out to the Till Valhalla Project, man. They're out there doing amazing things. I'm telling you, I keep telling you, I just said every podcast, I'm going to tell you until everybody on earth goes in and checks them out. But they do some amazing stuff. Everybody go see them at tillvalhallaproject.com.
Are you a Marine veteran? Are you missing that bond you had on active duty? Then I have a place for you. Join the only congressionally chartered Marine Corps Veteran Service Organization, the Marine Corps League. Get that brother and sisterhood back in your life. Become one of the fewer, the prouder, a Marine Corps League member.
All right, here we are. I've still got the daggum thing in our face. Let me take that off. Hold on. I'll find it. There we go. How y'all doing? Let's go around the country here. We'll start with Jess. Jess, how you doing, man?
I'm muted. There we are. It's dark at like 5:30. I'm tired of this shit already, so I wish that would not be. But daylight savings is for suckers. I wish we get rid of it.
Yeah,
And we have weather. We're snowing
it's
last
because you're
weekend.
up there at the North Pole, man.
Yeah, like 70. I was snowing last weekend at the birthday, and then this week it's 70. So it was just,
gosh, at least it was 70.
and then it's just, as we figure it out, we should continue on. I'm getting inclement weather policies for my kids' school today, so that's just a precursor to old man winter storm.
Yeah, you guys are going to have some good times up there in the near future.
Weeds out the week. So
there you go. Weeds out the week. I like that. We were down here, was it yesterday? It was 89 degrees yesterday. Yeah, I don't know. It was cold 2 weeks ago when I talked on here, and then yesterday it was 89. It was pretty warm yesterday, but good times. Bone, how are you doing?
Man, I'm hanging in there. I miss you guys. Had a lot going along the last couple months, and so I'll just throw it up to the old ecclesiastical. There's a season for everything, man. Mm-hmm. So whether it's a time to live or a time to die, time to rent, a time to sow, I've been plowing through all that. That being said, I'm happy to be here with all you guys because, honestly, it's good for my mental health, and I'm sure that at any point, something any one of us has said in any of these FireSide Chats has been good for somebody. So I'm just glad to be back, man, and survived a couple of weeks with some ups and downs.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're back. We missed you over here, or at least I did. I don't know about these other two, but I missed you, Bone. So I'm glad you're back. And if like we always say, man, if you ever need anything, all you gotta do is ask. We're here for you. So, all right. Well, I guess we can jump over to the new and improved, because he snipped part of his goatee off there. But the new and improved, Vic, how you doing?
Technically, it was cut off with a pocket knife, but
well,
who knows what Marines do? It's been a rough day. I've spent the entire day reading. Let's see, encroachment reports and traffic studies and monitoring reports on internal communications and stakeholder communications and community relations. I mean, it's been a very, 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 very boring day. Lots of reading, and like my eyes got tired, like staring at a computer screen for 2.5 hours straight, trying to read all this stuff. So I hooked it up to my TV up here behind me, and then I went to the couch, zoomed in on it, and I was, oh my gosh. I mean, it was so much reading, and I'm only about 2/3 of the way through it. I still have more to do tomorrow night before Monday on Tuesday. School board stuff. It's all school board stuff. Yeah,
that's good, because when you said cut with a pocket knife, I thought you did a second vasectomy, and that's not advised. So I thought that was some Marine Corps stuff.
No,
so
I was actually I was at a karaoke night with another Marine buddy of mine, and I actually had both my I call them my beard scrunchies in, and I was telling him, I was like, I think everything below this bottom scrunchie, I think I'm gonna get rid of, because it's all just getting, and before I could even say a word, he was like, there it's done. I'm like, okay.
Nice. A brother in need.
Yeah.
That's like the white girl giving herself bangs, though. Dude, that never ends, man.
Oh yeah, if you pull it down too far and cut it, it goes.
Don't give yourself bangs. Don't go through that phase, man.
I call those protest bangs. So, but that's a thing now. Actually, the higher you cut them, the angrier and whiter you are.
Interesting.
And then you start dyeing them purple or blue or something.
Well, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I mean, that's the next level in the progression, right?
Yeah. It's like start small, and then you hit the bangs, and then the dye job, and then you gain the 200 pounds, and then you get the signs, and that's your final form. So that's how that works, but I could be wrong.
That's the big boss at the end of the game when you're
that's the super boss.
Yeah.
There's the
protest double dragon. You're like, no, God, she's huge.
There's the Vitro version of that though too, where they get the mohawk and then the beard that goes down halfway to their chest.
Yeah.
Some kind of switchblade. Some kind of switchblade.
Yeah.
Just another max, like 4 or 5. Just come back to normal. Just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Going to like Menards and grabbing a case of Rippets and driving around town, like thinking they're on patrol. Just solid black. Man. You don't have to kiss fire in the States. You ain't got to do it. It's a phase. You get it.
Oh my God.
There's 2 ends of that spectrum. It gets real weird real fast.
Yeah.
Touché.
Oh my God, that's good. Well, what do you guys want to chat about this week? I didn't really have an agenda, to be honest. So if you guys know of anything that you would like to chat about, then we could chat about it. If not, then we'll just, I don't know what we'll do.
Dude, it's like a sprint. We start with a birthday, go to Veterans Day, go to it's just this week. It's just a lot.
Yeah.
It's a marathon. And there's all the feels and all like the emotions and all the birthdays and like happy birthday, happy Veterans Day. So
yeah.
And then
we could talk about what free stuff you guys got. Did anybody do any free veteran stuff?
Oh,
that is
I did not ever do anything.
Seriously?
No, nothing.
I went out and got 0 free stuff.
All right. We do breakfast over at Hy-Vee, and it's like a bunch of vets go over there, and it turns into like a giant meeting. It's actually one of the better parts of the year for us. And I talked to a kid who graduated boot camp last Friday, and there's
nice
2 staff NCOs and another like Marine. I mean, we just like don't you don't need to get a car at 20%. Just all the things that we wish would be called as a kid, right? Straight out of boot camp. Don't buy too much shit, because that's always the thing too.
Yeah.
You got to carry it to your next duty station. What's this? I mean, he's going through all of it. I mean, it was just a data dump on this kid. And his eyes just like, he just rocked back at like 7 a.m. He's like getting everything just handed to him. Like, don't do this, don't do this, do this. So it's a good breakfast we all kind of go to on Veterans Day. And
Nice.
then there's a place down the street. It's like Yellowstone Restaurant. It's amazing. And we shop there anyway. And we go there quite a bit. We have friends in town. My wife and I go there and kind of turn it into a night and turn it into date night. And always, if you get like two $20 things off the menu, you always give like a $40 tip or a $60 tip. I mean, it's not a free thing. So, I mean, they're businesses. They're trying to keep afloat too. So,
yeah, that's true.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Bottomless margs at Applebee's, and like just you try not to be that stereotypical dude. Like I plan my day like it's going to be like one free thing to the next free thing. Like, I don't be that person that tips like my husband's a service member, so this should have been free.
I'm a staff sergeant too. Hippopotamus. Yeah, don't do that.
Don't disrespect my husband.
Yeah,
my husband.
Don't disrespect our rank. Our? You teed it up, Jess, but you're right. No, I agree.
We don't be them people. It's just,
no,
don't wreck a good thing. Like, he turns out and does great things. Don't take advantage.
That is a good point though that you bring up. Is how many times do you see maybe the veteran community taking it too far? Right?
All the time.
Like when is enough? Right? There's so many things that happen, and don't get me wrong, there are veterans that need stuff. I get it, but if you don't need it, maybe don't do it or get it or whatever.
It happens all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gross, and it's just like take a step back, put yourself in the other person's shoes. That empathy goes away. It's like you owe me for your freedoms. I'm like, cool, yeah, but they pay taxes. That's pays. I mean, there's a
give and take.
Be cool about it. Act as if you've been there before.
And there's some people who wanted to live their whole life to fly a jet plane, and they're a nerd with glasses that just can't, right? Or you know what I mean? Any of these, you hear these stories, and they're more into it than even the people doing it now, and it's been taken away from them because of physical reasons and stuff, right? Or honestly, if you listen to the best World War II, Korea, Vietnam stories, every guy can't see, was 17, lied about their age, and then went and put on the plot armor and got a Medal of Honor. But there's encumbrances to serving as well, and there's people out there that just would desperately want to do that actually literally can't for one reason or another. And so again, like you said, just stepping back and just being like, hey man, like I mean, and I've done not that much, some physicals for some real war fighters and things like that, but that's it. And so when I think of that, I'm like, that's humbling to me. That I just had that physical and mental ability to just qualify and roll in and do the thing. That's it, and nothing more. So it's a really good point you bring up.
We had a reality check this week on the 13th. We had Night of Heroes, I think they're calling it, and it's the Alliance over here. I mean, we can preach about this all the time, but they had a hail and farewell. So we had all the kids that are getting ready to do the oath of enlistment. So they're hailing them into the family. Then the farewells, we had a couple of guys who just came off active duty and they recognize them. It's a little thing they're kind of starting the community here. And then we got to the meat of the matter, and we had Clint Romashot come up from Camdesh, Red Platoon, and told the story. I'm like, Jesus Christ. If you haven't watched The Outpost, then I don't know what to tell you at this point. But most humble guy you've ever met. Everybody, I mean, he carries this thing, and you can feel the weight on him because he's telling the story of like Battle of Camdesh and Cop Keating, and it's like it was a reality check. Like everybody in the room was like, November 11th was like, "Where's my free Applebee's, baby?" And then you got Clint Romeshaw talking like, "Hey, this is." You could feel him like he carries this thing like a weight around his neck, and that's going to be for life. And you could kind of tell when he was talking about it. It takes a little piece out of him, I think, every time he does it. But he always he's thankful to the community. He's thankful to the veteran community. He's thankful for the kids joining. He's just making it. Yeah. But we had 2 Medal of Honor recipients in the audience. I mean, well, one from the local area and then Clint up on stage. But yeah, that's a reality check that I think a lot of Americans are going to need, like especially the vet community. It's like listen to a Medal of Honor recipient talk. Kyle Carpenter, most dude you've ever met in your life, and a hilarious sense of humor. Just a little guy. You get familiar with Return with Honor that they did in Afghanistan? You guys ever hear about Return with Honor?
I don't think I know what that is.
Oh, that program? Yeah, I've heard of it.
Where guys who got medevaced out came back and then went out on their own 2 feet and they got to walk out of country instead of getting medevaced out.
Okay.
So in 2015, I was in Kabul and they did a Return with Honor, and Kyle Carpenter was part of that.
I see.
Trace Adkins was there as well. And if you've never seen Trace Adkins in real life, he's a big boy.
Yeah.
And he's great Viking. I
don't know if 6'4", 6'5", something like that.
He's annoying. I felt small, and I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
I was like, he's a Viking because he's got the beard down to here. And then I knew one of the protocol guys, and it was like we were all getting ready to rotate out. So we're kind of in the area in the back next to the area you're not supposed to really hang out in. And he's got his manager there. They're telling road stories. We're telling Afghan stories and all this stuff. And everybody's just around a fire pit. Trace Adkins come out on a cell phone without a shirt on, and he's got he's been stabbed, so he's got scars all over. I mean, his ex-wife stabbed him or some shit. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, that did happen. She without a shirt on, ponytail, beard down to here. It looks like a berserker from a goddamn Viking show. Yes. Here's where it got weird. Is his manager said, "Yeah, Trace got asked to walk in front of Kyle Carpenter as Return with Honor, and they kind of just walk around and do just a lap around ISAF." And he's like, "You've got to be kidding me! If you think I'm going to walk in front of Kyle Carpenter as Return with Honor, it's like this is not going to happen." But yeah, that humility. Carpenter will never. I mean, Kyle Carpenter never asked for anything. He just is always giving. So, but I mean, that humility.
He's back in now.
Huh?
He's back in now, right?
No, it's Dakota Meyer.
Oh, Dakota Meyer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I got him mixed up.
It's a real hard thing for guys like that. I mean, in every day in war, and obviously the war on terror lasted forever, well over 2 decades, and really still goes on. And there's acts of heroism that meet or exceed, anything you see in TV or movies, or the things you read in these award. It's the word briefs or medal citations, and but yeah, it's those guys deserve them, and they did those things. But like you said, like the Kyle Carpenters of the world, a lot of people it's well deserved. They accept it. But having to jock up and actually go out and do the pressers and the other bullshit is that does take something from them, because they'd rather be doing something else, and likely it's the exact same thing that got them the Medal of Honor in the first place. So if there was another grenade to dive on, I bet you no regrets they'd go do it. And I say bet, actually no, because if you've done it once, you'll do it again. You already made the decision. So it's one of those things where it's like you say that, it really gives you pause, and is just
I'd argue that if I get kicked in the
more
nuts and then say I'm going to get kicked in the nuts again, I might say I'm going to pass on that one.
No, oh really? Yeah, I mean, no, like a kick in the nuts, but I mean, like, look, dude, for sure. But you know what? Sometimes it's in your blood, dude. Once a grenade
Yeah.
diver honor, always a grenade diver honor. If
Mhm.
you're willing to if you're willing to serve and you're willing to sacrifice your body for your brothers
Yeah.
and anyone, like that's what I'm really talking about. I get I know
Yeah.
you're saying this, but I also I mean it like that guy couldn't. Like he couldn't compel himself not to do that. Like that's just there are some people whether
It
you're
was
wired that
instinct.
way or whether you do it, it's that instinct. Some people here. Here's the thing: the startle reflex, right? Like if you read the book, The Gift of Fear, it's a great book, and there's ways to quantify fear, but when we're talking about it in this context, it's just the startle response. It's the caveman, like like saber-tooth tiger. Fuck, what do I do? And but not like fear, I'm afraid, like existential fear and stuff.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about like the gift of fear, there are just innately people who, yeah, everyone has a startle reflex. You have a physiological response, but then it's what you do after. There's no shame in any of it, by the way, for anyone listening. I'm not casting aspersions, but there is the run. There's the turn and run. Good survival mechanism. There is the freeze. There's the bunny rabbit freeze. Try and get your heart rate down from 220 beats a minute. And then there's the people that turn and knock out the mofo that scared them, or
Yeah.
in training, like break cover and start blasting, or those people when you watch those funny like Halloween clips where it's like, ooh, the scarecrow's on the thing and they jump up and 9 out of 10 people like funny. One mofo like drops them, and there is that other response to fear, and you can build it into things, but it kind of comes into what you're saying is like these
But
people.
that's the instantaneous ones, though. Those
Right.
are the jump out a grenade. That's like Jack Lucas, Kyle Carpenter. There is that. It's over in an instant, and it's a flip of a coin. They're going to make it. A lot of times they don't.
For sure.
Clint Romashaw's, the Ty Carters, Dakota Myers, where it's a firefight for 12 hours and it's prolonged. And those guys carry that thing like a weight that is just drowning them. And the strength it takes to do that for the rest of their life, because they never think they always say, like, I'm carrying this for my entire unit. They represent the unit. And those guys, there's a weight when you listen to them. You can hear it in their tone. You can see it in their face that they're just carrying this just anchor around their neck, and you're trying. How do you go through your life with that? I mean, that's it's the worst day of your life on repeat every time you tell that story.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a reason that a lot of vets, you look at Vietnam vets, a lot of those guys won't talk about what they did and what they saw and stuff like that. And it's because they don't want to relive it over and over and over,
But we ask them to every time we ask them to come and talk. And why do we have to? I mean, it's one of those things.
It's a good, it's a good question, and you can look at it from two ways. And I'm not coming from a military point with this. I'm coming from a law enforcement one. But there's way too much stoicism in law enforcement, and I mean, just way too much, and all around. And so, to try and overcome that, you can be involved in something that may or may not be viewed as heroic, and you need to just like lean in and I guess try and explain how and why you did it and why it was justified and why that was good, because that's always part of the thing with law enforcement is the just that justification, explaining the lawfulness of things is very much more a part of that. That's different than the military. Not that there's not LOAC and other things in the military, but it's just a bigger part of the LE thing. But then the other part is the same thing, is like breaking down the walls of like, that weight, that PTSD, or that like how this was the straw that broke the camel's back, right? Like I could manage my limbic system But now that fear response, like I talked about, just what's it take, right? So, I mean, I can tell you definitively, if I put on a little black stormtrooper outfit and a bat belt and stood in front of a door, I'd freaking spaz. I will just like up here, right? But in a different context, it's fine. So, but that doesn't get out, to LE because law enforcement people. I mean, some of them are prior Marines, service members, things like that. But you know what I mean. Let's take it out of like what we're talking about is, and when they're talking about it, is like, yeah, I did my 8 years. I come out now. I'm serving in a different capacity, but I haven't done these things, right? I didn't win these service crosses and medals of honor and things like that. And so, like, yeah, it is, you do get compelled to do it, and it's for a good thing. But there's a push and pull with it because, like, part of it just, it feels dirty, right? And it shouldn't. And you should overcome that and share your story to help people who've gone through something similarly, or to, kind of help move them toward dealing with their stuff or, seeking help. But it's, God, man, I guess if you don't have a story, it doesn't make a big enough of a splash to, like, I don't know, move the needle along or like catch the attention and do that. So it's a weird, like, I get what you're saying, Jess, but like, and I 100% agree, but I'm also like, it's like these guys are like getting a push and a pull that are like, gosh, but I have to, right? Because it's serving another end. But yeah, it is a weight, and it's taking something from them. And it's like, I guarantee you, they're like, it ain't that big a deal. Like, just.
You touch on something when it came to the law enforcement side, though. That's also comparing military to law enforcement's got to be like the weirdest correlation because a deployment's overseas typically, and it's you get on the plane, you get off the plane, you can kind of leave things at certain places. Law enforcement folks I know, they're coming in the door of their house, and then the next day they're right back in the same place. I can't imagine deploying with my family and going to see them every day. That'd be the weirdest thing.
I'd agree with that.
Law enforcement, fire, EMS, to do that all the time. Corrections.
Dispatch.
How do you maintain a normal dispatch? Exactly. You ask these folks to basically, you're catching people on their worst day, and every call is going to be its own little thing. How do you walk in your door and become normal at the end of that shift? I don't think there's anybody who's cracked the code on that. I mean, there's some folks out there like Travis Howes is amazing to listen. If you ever hear him speak, he's amazing. But I mean, that's what we do every day. Comparing them to like equality, it just doesn't jive in my mind.
And I wasn't trying to make an equality
no,
thing, but no, you're right, and I think it's just very different. But where they are kind of equal is the amount of like, just the amount of like trauma and things you see and get exposed to, and some of the like that darkness in the world that you get a glimpse at, where you can be in a place where there isn't freedom, where there is atrocities and things happening. Right. If you're even just looking over the wire, let alone outside of it. And that's I think that's kind of a big equalizer in that, where that's a thing that weighs, but just also, to take it to like a mental health, physiological and psychological place is exposure to that just super heightened fear response and that trauma and that gunfight. A gunfight's a gunfight, whether you have it in the States or you have it overseas. Now, if you're 19 and they gave you a gun and you're PFC snuffy and you're over there in the infantry, you kind of expect that. But that doesn't, I'm not taking away from anything. I'm just saying, like, you're in a foreign war. Mm-hmm. It's still the exact same thing. You're still dealing with all of those same like visceral, like fear responses, heightened limbic responses. It's that versus if you're here and you're a 105-pound female cop fighting a 275-pound dude for your life physically, which she should have blasted that person.
Yeah.
See how I edited myself? You should.
That was good. That was, I mean, you're doing real good with that.
Yeah, doing a good job. All right, so that should have happened. And I'll say that all day. But then also you can take it to like just straight up gunfight between two gunfighters, me and a different gangbanger. So it's either one. You're still getting all of those same stimuli and all of that same trauma. All the same human feelings, right? Sometimes with law enforcement in the States, there's different legal and other aftermath stuff, but even in the military, there's some of that a little bit. But the human aspects, just taking it to just the human aspects of like the height of interpersonal conflict, which is that much fighting and death, is like that's where it like kind of meets and is equal, and that is what wears on you, and it builds and it affects you, it changes you. And so those things are where I feel like people can just need to talk about it and bring it out and just put like humility or I don't think anybody's doing it with any hubris. I really don't, but just like taking any kind of braggadocious thing out of it or anything. It's like, but if you've done some amazing things and you're the guy that's propped up with the Medal of Honor, man, it's like, I mean, sometimes you just got to jock up and be Audie Murphy, right? Like it's like, that's the blessing and the curse,
where'd Audie Murphy end up? I
Right.
mean, he was broken at the end of it. And he's one of the first advocates for health.
He was. Yes, sir.
He openly talked about it.
Yes. Because
that's where a lot of them, they're the ones who can actually push that ball forward.
And you look at those individuals, man, and how much of a toll it takes on them. And then you look at, that young serviceman or woman or whatever that's in combat, 19, 20-year-old, 18 maybe, they're in combat and they experience trauma. Man, they're going to live with that a long time. You know what I'm saying? And if they're not getting help or they're not, talking to the right people, if you will, they're going to struggle.
Well, it's a support network you build over time too. Have you guys seen Marines on Netflix yet? That new one that just came out. That one.
Yeah.
The machine gunners got to have that mentality at that age.
Yeah.
But what does it look like? You need those first enlistment guys to just kick doors, live that every day. I prayed for war. And I'm like, and a couple of years later, you're like, okay, maybe I'll think about war. I don't need to pray for it all day. But I'm watching that thing on the 31st MEU. I'm like looking at it from the aspect of a MEU rat myself. And I'm like, okay, there's some pieces of this. Sorry, swallow wrong. But you look at him doing these missions, and they're like, okay, there's a lot of things going on here that aren't being talked about. But listen to that machine gunner in the barracks and his buddy praying for war. I'm like, calm down, guy. They
do have a point. And for most war fighters or people that are wanting, they join the military for a reason, right? And everybody, whether they admit it or not, really in the back of their mind, they're like, yeah, I want to get that opportunity to see how I'll do, especially in the infantry and those types of MOSs, right? Everyone's thinking that in the back of their head, like, what would I do in the actual situation? And I think from that aspect, I think that's what they want to do, right? It's kind of like you train all year for a Super Bowl or a football game, but you never get to have the football game,
But those first enlistment guys, you need those you need those kids.
Yeah.
You need those like guys who are going to charge.
Yeah.
But there's always a sergeant with that experience, and that experience kind of tempers down that fire. So So without a strong core of staff and COs and some stronger officers, we're one step away from more crimes. But
that's where the second lieutenant, and again, and I'll say this, but you can also see this where this doesn't exist in other militaries. When he dies, the guy with the pencil who's going to document that, that's when the war crimes start, and that's when the U.S. shines. And I'm not saying it's not a war crime the first time. That's when when you let the animals out of the house, because LT's gone, like you said, you need those people. Sometimes, like, you just need those guys and a sergeant to guide them. Shit goes off the rails, we overcome. That's different than other militaries where people just hunker down and retreat or hope for the best or bring in someone else. That's not any branch in the U.S. military. Certainly not the Marine Corps. But I also, that was the war part, but I also agree, Jess. I always agree with like preponderance of what you say, man. You have the best points. It's you. Yeah, I agree with that too. Is like those kids, you have to temper that, and you have to let them grow into it, and you have to give them some perspective, because I've had that myself, but I've also had to know that I'm what you might call a shit magnet, and that persists. It persists into my medical nursing career to this day.
Yeah.
And it's not just me being a good storyteller, that if every day at the end of a clinical shift brief, I have the best story. I only deal with the hemodynamically unstable. That means they bleed a lot and shit. They're dying. Like, so here's the deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, I am a good storyteller, but also like, this was effed up. And people learn, right? So again, trying to keep it colorful but not too colorful, is you have to wrangle that, you have to manage that, but that's also a mental health management thing, because sometimes you gear yourself up so hard for that, the greatest, interpersonal conflict, which is just combat, life and death situation.
You got to ask yourself, do you manifest that by thinking about it too much?
Yeah.
If you're always keyed up, you're going to find yourself in a situation where your talents need to be put in play.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a balance that I think a lot of people are having a hard time with. You're a shit magnet. My Irish grandma prayed down to me guardian angels because peace broke out everywhere I went, it felt like. So
good. Praise God. Yeah. And that's awesome. Because if that's your gift, like, why aren't you walking other places, Jess? What are you doing? Go to the Middle
East. Where I went, like, thou shalt get along today.
Yeah.
I mean,
we need to replicate you and put you everywhere,
I got my degree in diplomacy, so this must be my gift.
There you go.
But no, I mean, it happens, but a lot of times it's the worst day of the people's lives is the thing they're going to remember for the rest. I mean, law enforcement goes through this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You're catching them on the worst day of their lives, and then medal of honor citations, the worst day of their lives, hands down. They're going to remember that, and they're carrying that. I could have done this, could have done that, could have done this. Andrew and I were just talking before this, because recording my personal vet journey. There's my day that was one of my worst days, and I had zero control over it, but I'm going to replay it for the rest of my life. What I could have done different. And that's where I wish these guys would just take a step back. I'm like, just breathe. If it happens, it happens. Be ready for it, but don't pray for it. Don't manifest it. And I think that's where a lot of kids don't realize that if you're always keyed up for it, it's more than likely going to happen. Yeah. It's like that over anxious cop or that over anxious EMT that kind of goes off the rails because they're going to escalate instead of de-escalate a situation. That's where I spent a lot of time in the MU and a lot of time at college and as a contractor is de-escalating tense situations, because it does not need to be. We don't need to escalate to the point of like the worst day for all of us, because you can't take those back. You can't take those shots back. You can't take those actions back. But I don't know. It's a hard thing.
It's so hard, and I agree with you, but also as like a prior field trainer and as somebody who had to like teach, well, I taught EMS for 15 of my 20 military year career, but also just taught cops. You're right. And again, Jess, you're always right. Like I'm 80% lockstep, but then I'm gonna like give a little pushback and say a different piece.
Good.
But is that, because I do agree, you shouldn't pray for it. You don't want that. But also, coming from being a person who's had a gun screwed to the back of people's heads 25 times, and 24 of them, no one got hurt, no one died. Right? But because I did that, but for those actions, and not but for being overzealous, and to be able to get people to understand that and to use force righteously, judiciously, legally, and upfront and reasonably saves lives.
It does.
People get hurt, and I know I knew you were going to say that. I know you agree. It's just but you, like, when you have to live in this like big push-pull dichotomy with that, it does suck, because like when you say I have manifested stuff, and again, when I say I'm a shit magnet, that speaks to my heart, and I'm like, yeah, what have I manifested? I know, like, honestly, everything, dude. I've prayed for the big dirty. I've wanted the final scene of Sicario. At least half of my law enforcement career. Yeah, I'm a psychopath. That's why. Hey, guess what? That's why God took me out of it before I took myself out of it and went to prison or fully lost everything. So, praise be. I'm here talking about this, but for, if I was left to my own devices, Lord help me. But I'm just saying, you do have to like teach people and try and like manage and mitigate that. And then also, like, what I would like to do is talk about the mental health aspects of it.
Yes.
And so for me, a positive outcome, albeit a traumatic experience or a violent one or some other things, just fed my adrenaline addiction, and my ADD played into it, and I'm fully broken and have rewired my brain chemistry after 18 years.
It's chasing high.
For sure. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. That's what no one will talk about, and they're finally starting to talk about now. It's like chasing that next high.
Right.
Well, how many times did those infantrymen come back, and they're chasing that high? They jump on a motorcycle and, going 120 down the highway, and then all of a sudden, boom, they're in a wreck. They're chasing the same high. It's just in a different capacity because they need that, or they want it. They don't need it. They want it.
So I had a cousin of mine. So he's a battery commander up in North Dakota National Guard, and he took his battery over to Syria in low altitude air defense, and talking to him the whole time on Signal or whatever. We were chatting back and forth, and we just like, so I got a retired sergeant major, myself. I mean, all these like wealth of experience inside the family, and we're just kind of feeding him through the cycle, because this is his first overseas deployment. He's done like National Capital Region with Patriot batteries and all that, but it's his first time in the box. And we're talking like everything's going good. Just don't lose sight of what's coming up. And the most dangerous time is the last part of deployment. And then all of us are like, when you get your guys home and you do your deactivation ceremony, you've got to keep a thumb on the pulse of these guys, because they're going to do some. We pray that we don't lose somebody after every deployment, but we always do. It's the motorcycles, it's the car wreck, it's the random shit that you can't control anymore. And he lost one in a motorcycle accident. It was not him over driving. Somebody backed out, and that was it. But I mean, they didn't lose anybody through the deployment. Then he comes home, and that's the first thing that happens. They lose somebody like the day after they deactivate it. So that's the hard part. Is he necessarily chasing that adrenaline rush? But no. But as a battery commander, he's going to live with that for the rest of his life. It's like, what could I have done different? And that leadership and that mentorship and like calming everybody down is like, just be normal for a little bit. How do you walk them back? And that's the hard part. you're talking about the escalation of force. My stepdad's retired Secret Service. He taught pistol personal defense forever. You can't take back the bullets you shoot. That's like rule number one, especially on the civilian self-defense side. So take a breath, but when you got to escalate violently. That was one of his rules. But each one's a lawsuit. And then he did all the studies. I mean, he read all the literature. He was part of the Arizona team down there with what's his name?
Arpaio?
No, Arizona, the guy Cooper Color Codes. He went to school back in the 70s. I mean, he's been around this world for a long time, but there were pieces of his class that he kind of gleaned from everything, and sometimes taken a beat, but that balance is never quite right. And every bullet's a lawsuit. But there were cops that basically would screw themselves in the wall instead of taking a shot because they're trying to play the jury out in their head as they're trying to escalate force, and they're thinking about the lawsuit that's going to happen, and then they end up getting dropped.
That's never the time for Chinese calculus.
You're
gonna fuck yourself.
But
sorry, but that's there when I finally dropped one. But that's what it is. It's no, you're right. That's 100% that.
So Bone, how often do you see, because you were in law enforcement for a while, so how often do you see individuals that do overthink it like that? Is that due to the atmosphere that they're in within that branch or that department?
It takes in every account. So think about how the Marine Corps is wired and how Marines are Marines and how Marines respond in combat situations, which God love them is the best. So now, so that's the high end of high functional interpersonal conflict, and it's government sanctioned and Marine Corps sanctioned and beatified. It's good. And trust me, I'm all about it. And as an Air Force guy, all deference. But I will say, yes, it matters on your state, your agency, right? State laws matter. State laws can be more restrictive than federal. They generally are, at least on the West Coast. It matters at your agency. If you're a county or a city. So a city, the chief is appointed by the mayor. These are things. So there is the Constitution of the United States for sure, right? And then there are your, regional court case law things. And then there is just your local policy and stuff. And then just an abject reasonableness. And that reasonableness has been restricted down more and more just over time. It's become harder and harder. So what people struggle with, and this is where real good teaching and real good use of force instructors get in. It's not just jujitsu. Jujitsu is not the answer. Sorry, Gracie's greasy.
If you're at the jiu-jitsu level, it's too late. Like
I agree. No. And I love jiu-jitsu and I love MMA and it's good, but there's no one answer. There's no one tool
in the box.
Right.
It's not the silver bullet, and that's what everybody tries to make it into.
Like every Navy SEAL that wants to invent the thing that's going to stop an inguinal freaking hemorrhage bleed. It's like, get out. Okay. You know what? Good on you. If you made $100,000 when you came out of the sandbox, I don't begrudge you, but you're also shamming people. I can teach you how to do the exact same thing with just like practical skills and some ace wrap and gauze. But all that being said is like, you have to take it back to that. You have to take it back to two core principles. Your like just core beliefs and like this reality of like reality and morality, like this morality and the far edge of just what is acceptable and not acceptable kind of period, right? So you can't curb stomp people, you can't execute people, you can't do crap. Now you can add a top and bottom to the box with federal law and case law and or policy, change one. But you can bounce around that box all day. The trick is to be able to realize what the high end and the bottom end is.
Mhm.
And then when you have to execute force, do it legally, judiciously, but overwhelmingly. So if you have to use force, use overwhelming force. And the best people that use force ask, tell, you can't say make anymore, try to negotiate, give an egress, which what? If they're walking away from you, they already have one. Ooh, oopsie. And, de-escalate. Well, how many times did I try and de-escalate in these first 3 examples I fucking gave? And they had an egress. That's a de-escalation. It's not like I trapped them in a box like a caged animal. So now I have 4 strikes, and you use their words against them, i.e. the governments and the people that want to sue you and your governors and piece of crap ACLU attorneys. ACLU attorneys, if you're listening, eat a dick. That is what you do. And then you use reasonable and judicious force. Boom. And guess what? Then it's done. That's what you have to try and kind of get to. And instill is like, and then it's done. It's not extra kicks. It's not giving them the business at the bottom of the pile in the NFL or any hockey nonsense. It's just use the reasonable and overwhelming. You have to overwhelm their resistance, overwhelming force, and then be done. And then they're cuffed up. And you know what you do? Take a deep breath, calm down,
mechanism.
and you brush them off, and then you make friends. And if you can't, you give them to someone else who can, because they weren't the one that put hands on them. And I've been in both situations. Let's go ahead.
No, that's exactly right. So there's a thing that happens with adrenaline, and it starts leaking out your pores, and you can smell it when you walk into some rooms, and you can see this. I'm sure that iron smell. I'm sure you've run into it more than once. Get that guy out of the room as fast as you can, because he's contagious. It might as well be measles. Get him out as fast as you can and isolate him and put him in a place that he can't like spiral somebody else up. And that was like one of those little tricks we had to do. And then
Cop or bad guy or operator, cop, bad guy, operator, anybody. Yeah, get that guy out.
Get them out the room, because they're contagious. And that smell, that adrenaline dump seeking through the pores, you get that guy who's spun out, get him away from it. Just get him away, because he's just going to cause hate and discontent. And yeah, that's one of those weird tricks they don't tell you about when you get that guy who just dumped a salt bomb into an alleyway. Like, kick him out. Put a relief in place going on. But I mean, there was parts of 2011, 12, and 13 when we started the rules of engagement. Every shot was being investigated by JAG lawyers, and that was like driving everybody up a wall. Hostile act, hostile intent going on. Every lawyer is looking through a drone or a PGSS feed at every engagement, and there's like quarterbacking you the whole time. So that was driving people nuts too. But there was like that point where war crime, it's the first time. Well, it was war crime the first time too. They just pretended like it was.
Yeah, that's true.
But it doesn't fit on a t-shirt. That better be judged by 12 than carried by 6. That can't be your life. It can't be your motto in life. And that's hard. That's hard. A lot of it boils down to that thing they're going to remember. And like, put some thought into it. Reasonable force. If I'm taking a pot shot from a Ville, don't drop a JDAM into it. So bypass. I mean, you bypass, isolate, and clear, and put an eye in the sky over it. So I know can't do that in the streets, but how many police chases end with somebody dead because
sometimes they do. They've gotten very restrictive, and in most cases, probably for the better. And I've been involved in a lot of high-speed pursuits, and I've been involved in 5 pits, and I've junked a lot. Yeah, Whatcom County has saved a lot of money since my medical retirement, but it's one of those things where, yeah, you're right. And having a good leader and having perspective, and even being somebody who's there have been things where I've given up and stopped just because as much as I have that dog in me, that greyhound chasing the rabbit, I know that like I will do that to the detriment of myself or society and stop. But like you said, those kids you need, those first generation early deployers, they don't have that off switch.
They get the
That's
tunnel.
where they have you.
They got the tunnel in, and that's where you got to pull them back.
That adrenaline causes tunnel vision, causes auditory exclusion, causes other things that wire you into physical violence and physical survival that don't. It sure shit doesn't release oxytocin where you're going to breastfeed or you just got done coming and everyone's happy, right? Like that's the opposite. I'm just saying, trying to make like a chemical comparison in your brain. So, for all you nursing school nerds out there, sorry, I had to take it that way because that's where bone goes. This is both opposite ends. It's exactly that, dude. It's like you're dealing with brain chemistry that is affecting you before, during, and after all this. That then goes with you post-op, post debrief into the next operation.
Years and years and years. Yeah.
And then years
you
down
see
the
those after actions, and you can have like a tank running through something, and that kid never even heard it or saw it.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean there's a tank on site? And they're like, you missed that thing that was shaking the ground and that giant boom thing. How did you miss that? So those after actions always turn into like whoa, that was interesting. How did he miss that? And they're like, oh, because he was just burrowed in. Through a toilet paper tube. But and then what they teach us platoon sergeant and platoon commander, if you take a shot in a firefight, you're probably doing it wrong. Because you've got to be able to direct fires effectively and integrate overhead fires. And that is like, how many second lieutenants just want to get in that gunfight, get that car, get that infantry, that combat infantry badge. They need that check in their box.
Yeah.
I saw it all the time. All right, here's one. There was a complex attack on IJC in Kabul, and we had the Jordanian Special Forces up on the berm, and they were actually firing at the target. And all of a sudden, they started catching fire behind them. So they thought they had someone behind them firing at them. It was not incoming fire from behind. It was staff officers from IJC trying to fire their 9 so they could get their combat action badge. So they had 9 short and landing behind the Jordanian security element, engaging the fight. They wanted to be in the fight so bad, but they're like, if I loft one over. So like some people just want to be in the fight really, really bad, and they're not in the fight. They need to know their role. So there's a shit moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what I was noticing a second ago? I don't know if you, Jess, Bone, if you noticed this, but Vick down there, he's been taking notes. I've been seeing him write stuff down, and he's being real quiet. So I don't know what's going on down there in the corner.
That's what it is.
Well, I've got a lot to say, I guess. I just was waiting for a break and
let Vick rip.
First of all, I got my free donut from Parlor Donuts. That's what I did on Veterans Day.
Nice.
Reasonable.
Nice.
And when we were talking about all the heroes and the greats, that don't brag about it because they come from a place of humility. You don't have to brag about it. You don't have to be that veteran that goes out and brags about it when you've done it. Usually, it's the ones that are bragging about it are the ones that want recognition that they haven't earned. Let's see. And then as far as when it comes to dealing with that trauma, I've never been in that position of having to deal out that kind of drama or that trauma. I pray that I don't have to be. I pray that the people that I'm close to and you guys and don't have to be. But everybody holds it differently. We can armchair quarterback how these people that are Medal of Honor recipients are dealing with it, but ultimately we don't know. I would argue that some of them maybe use it as when they go out and do these talks, or instead of us asking them to relive trauma, maybe they are using it as a vent. Moving on to the younger generation, 82% of the Marine Corps is on their first enlistment, and that's on purpose, because the Marine Corps wants not just that young individual, that warfighter, but psychologically, they are specifically looking for that Marine that thinks they are immortal, and that is in 18 to 25. So that's why 82% of the Marine Corps is on their first enlistment. Let's see.
He took lots of notes.
It's true, and your brain's not fully formed. So
that too.
But
Yep.
yeah, I agree.
I mean, when you tell somebody run into the machine gun fire, right? Most reasonable individuals are going to be like, "No, that's stupid. Why would I do that?" But when you got the young guy who is motivated and kill, oorah, 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 he's going to run in
for combat.
Yeah,
because you told me to, drill sergeant.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, we can sit here with the luxury of experience and wisdom and maturity and say, hey, when you get into combat, think about this, think about that. No, when they get into combat, when you are presented to that type of situation, you will never rise to the occasion. You will always default to your level of training, always.
Uh-huh.
So when we train Marines to not run from the gunfire, but to turn and charge, close with it, destroy the enemy through close combat and all that, that in training is, and I dare say indoctrination, right? But that's what we do with our junior Marines because they're immortal, right? And then we train them to run towards the gunfire. But we also train them through close order drill, willingness and obedience, instant obedience to orders, right?
Yeah.
So when you have that experienced sergeant, staff sergeant, captain, whatever, saying stand down, they listen to orders. But when they say take that hill, they're going to take that hill because they prayed for combat.
Yeah, good point.
And that's the end of my notes.
Yeah. No, and your notes are good, and you're right. it just, and then it has the consequences that it has on the back end.
Yeah.
Should they engage in that exact same thing? And everything you said, dude, I loved. You were preaching to the choir. I was like, oh yeah. Dude, you could not hear the music in my head. Could not have been more glorious, man. Like all the black chicks were singing. It was so nice. And I was, but like that's the thing, dude. But then there's the back end, and that's where everyone deals with it also differently as well. Because for everyone that won that Medal of Honor and deals with it their own way, there are ones that saw things that they couldn't deal with and their perspective in it. I can tell you this just from in my own law enforcement. My best friend and I were in the same pretty dynamic shooting, well documented on the internet. Look it up, kids. Is it's from where what he saw, what he knew, what happened to him, being who he is, being 10 years older than me, and in law enforcement 10 years longer, is a completely different circumstance and situation than the one I was in.
Yeah.
And again, same short 10-minute movie, but it's what you get and the fallout from it is so individually based and so based on your interaction in that own circumstance. So like anything and everything we've talked about and mentioned and touched on is 100% accurate and 100% right, but then also 100% individualistic when it comes to the individual. And but every one of those individuals, whether you won and you have a war boner, or whether you're upset about the injury, the lack of performance, whatever, or you're just middle of the road, or you have combat fatigue from just so much of that deployment. Everybody needs that support, that someone to talk to, that therapy, that all those things to keep you either going for your next deployment or for the next 16 years of your career, or to help you recover when you're out so that you can just be a quote normal civilian. You're never going to be normal, but you'd be functional, and functional is awesome.
Good. Yeah,
and we love functional. Also, we love dysfunctional. We want to get you to functional.
Yeah.
So when I do the air quotes, it means like none of us here in this little Foursquare roundtable are normal by any stretch of the imagination, at least by normal civilian standards. So
I can agree with that. Yeah.
Right. That's all I'm saying when I say that is
looking at this from a veteran's point of view, and this is where by the time I started contracting, I was a little bit older, and I'd catch those kids, especially in Afghanistan, their first week, and I'd talk to them. But I'm there for a year. So I'm catching them their first week, and I'm also catching them out throughout the course. And you can see the toll it's taking. And there's not really another side of it. And that's something I wish we could do better on the veteran side, is find them an off-ramp that's not just, here's a 214 in the street. And that's something that wore on me over time, because I saw it repeatedly, and I saw these same units. Just the toll it took on the young kids. I mean, the 19, 21, 22, and they're getting out and they're trying to start a life after the Corps or after the Army or after the Navy or Air Force. And you just saw that it feels like we just squeezed everything out of them that was good, and they kicked them out in the street and said, go figure it out. And I wish we'd done better. And I think that's where the VA is trying to do better. Everybody's trying to do better. VSOs are trying to do better. But yeah, we need those kids that are just fire eaters. But when they hit the fire
on the backside,
we don't.
I agree.
Better.
I agree.
I brought that up at the conference this year, where as VSOs, we don't get that roster.
Mm-hmm.
We don't get the guys who come out, and we lose them all the time in the cracks, and they have to come find us. When I wish we could help go find them. And Senator Slotkin out of Michigan, she's trying to do a lot more with this, but we're sending mail to the kids who just got out with an address that might be or may not be accurate. Send a text, let them know we're out there. But by the time they do find us, they're not. It might be your 10 years later. But we got to do better on the way out. So I know where you're coming from on this, but as Veterans Day is this week, I wish we could do better trying to get them on the other end. Because we spend all this time getting them ready to eat fire, and then they caught the dragon. Now what? Now they got to eat. So
they get to eat shit.
Yeah.
Kind of like not societally, but I mean, in some ways, but just personally and interpersonally, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to go engage in what you just said. It's also hard to go out on the streets and serve people, whether you're a firefighter, EMT, cop, and just go look into the darkness of the world, whether it's just death and the medical, or just, I don't know, people sex trafficking, molesting and raping children, doing things they should get. I should say I should be able to euthanize them for. That I'm not very Christian to me, but whatever. It's but I'd be willing to do it for a nominal fee. And but that's what also like gets people. And some of that exists in the DoD, right? Or some of that exists in what these war fighters see. You know what I'm saying? There's some stuff in the bigger world that just because we're so worried about very small set veterans issues, or maybe even political issues or other things, there's a bigger, broken, dying world out there with a lot of dark, horrible crap that goes on that vets are subject to, other people, victims, just everybody, man. And I guess I don't know where I'm really going with this.
I'd argue it's always there. It was always there.
It was always there. And we just want to realize but they didn't know. You don't know. You don't know until you see it. You don't know until you get exposed to it. You might have heard of it. Crap, your dad might have done it. You might be a third generation fill in the blank who's fought whatever and it's always out there, but until you see it, until you deal with it, and until you have those firefights, until you get to experience what you've been trained for, or until you just eaten enough crap for 18 years that it just doesn't work anymore, that you go, I need some help. And again, I've been offered help. I've been offered things. Like what you just said, that just though to know when someone's getting out, to be able to like catch them early, you can catch people early. You really can. And maybe you offer them the thing that keeps them from needing that help that they would have needed after 10 years. And that's worth it. That's a worthwhile endeavor. That's worth our tax dollars. That's worth everyone's support. So that's something that's worthwhile, right? Trying to fix and address people's mental health situations, worthwhile. Throwing good money after bad and other things, and I don't want to get political, but not as great. But I mean, if we're talking about the people who are defending, our democratic republic and just trying to execute what we would think is that needs, that support should be coming from all angles, and you kind of get it when you're in there, but you're a little blind to it. But to get, like you said, to try and target it, to be better, to be more focused and better targeted would be a good thing.
To build the off ramp, and that's where every off ramp is going to be different. It's going to be cloverleaf. It's going to be whatever. It took my stepdad to basically sit me down. I was like, I couldn't figure out how to come home. I was deployment junkie. It was like, when's the next one? When's the next one? I almost lost my family over it because I was like, all right, if you take this deployment, we're not going to be here when you get back. They're like, oh, well, I guess we're done with this then. But it took my stepdad to sit me down. It's that mentor-mentee relationship. I was like, all right, it's time to have the conversation of becoming normal again. They're like, what is normal? There is no normal. Normal is an abstract thing that doesn't exist. Because you define normal and just say it's just another version of abnormal. I'll argue with that all day. But you almost have to give them a new mission to go a different direction and push. Vick's doing great things where he's at. Andrew's doing great things. You're doing great things. We've got to get better as a seasoned veterans with our gray beards and shaved heads and vet bro hoodies to like pull the young man aside and basically say, what do you need? How you doing? Let them talk. Not just give them examples of our beatings that we took and call it good. And listen. That's a hard thing for us to do. So, gray beard stroking. I see you there. But, yeah, it was about community. We need to get better.
Yeah.
Get them in the door and not just hazing the shit out of them. This generational hazing between different wars needs to end, too.
Yeah, that's a true point. Yeah.
Get the shit out of the Gulf War guys and then the Gulf War guys fighting back. It's like, at least we won our war. I'm like, stop it. How about we're all on the same team rowing together for a change? It's a hard thing to do in these organizations because there's not a referee inside the room.
There's always a vocal minority. I think a preponderance of people are probably right in the middle, and there's some people on the fringes, like in anything. But you're right. Like don't prop that up. Don't align yourself with that, dude. Just align yourself with loving your brother and sister in any military branch. And I get it. I'm in the Air Force. I'm smarter than you guys, but I love y'all. And again, it's that shit is like, and I'm a pussy. I get it. I'll eat that. I own that. That's my badge of honor. I'm not a Marine. So you know what I mean? Like these things, like, can we not just make it something that like is what makes this podcast great, or like the actual DoD great, or when people get out and find other careers when they find their own off ramp because we don't provide it for them. And like, again, like there's a mentor and a mentee, dude. For every Air Force guy, there's a gyrene trying to make him hard. And for every psychopath that gets out of the Corps, there's a Navy dude that's like, yes, but not yes and, which I love, but yes, but maybe we just round the edges off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have to be so sharp and pointy. And you know what I mean? Like, and I'm making light of it, but I mean, but just think about it, like really in that context, like it's interpersonal relationships within people who have spheres of influence in the Department of Defense or after any of us here, the VA, right? What Jess is doing, your podcast, Vic, the kids you're influencing, me, I'm sure I'm going to help somebody who was or is to be a vet. And every now and then I get invited out and I hold court with young deputies and I try and extol virtues of not just, I don't know, I might run my mouth a lot, but it ain't like, I hope more of it's in line with what Jess was saying is like, hey man, this is my mental health story. This is how I jacked myself up. Maybe it's a cautionary tale. There's some fun stories, but also, and I'm not saying don't do as I do, because sometimes you should, but also like, hey man,
Sometimes you shouldn't.
sometimes you shouldn't, or sometimes you shouldn't pray for that or put yourself in that situation, or sometimes you're a doo-doo magnet because that's what you put out into the universe. And
I would argue that whatever you have to say to somebody, if you go through life preaching the gospel, so to speak, if it helps one other veteran, it's worth it.
Touché.
One.
Yeah.
And be unapologetic about what you've done and what you haven't done, or what you did or what you didn't do, or wear it like an armor. Let everybody see it.
Along that,
and if it helps one Marine, you've served your purpose.
Along that same line, and I just want to throw this out there, is you need to be true to you, right? We all served in different capacities. Some of us infantry, some of us in the band, some of us, whatever the case may be. Don't shy away from what you did, right? So when you're having conversations, what's that?
Don't be ashamed of it. That's what's so weird to me. It's like, dude, you did the thing. Don't be ashamed of it. I mean, it's the SEAL thing. Everybody's a SEAL after they get out, or everybody's recon. It's like, dude, you did a great thing while you're in. Own it. You don't need to be something you're not. Just be you.
And I promise that if you're you and true to yourself and who you are, that the other veteran, whether they're an infantry veteran, whether they've seen combat, not seen combat, whatever the case is, they're more apt to listen to you because you're true to who you are.
It's time for us to thank AJ for what he's doing, because how many Brovet podcasts out there, some Force Recon, MARSOC, SEAL, NICA Special Forces, we finally have a voice. Because there's no way in hell a lot of us are ever going to get that, because, I mean, that was just not in the cards. So I thoroughly applaud what you're doing, brother, because this is huge.
Amen. I agree.
You can't speak to that enough. It gives us a chance to tell a story without having to, back in, Fallujah and the second day of the firefight, I'm like, okay, back in boot camp when I accidentally pissed on my drill instructor. Whoops. I mean, it's a funny story. I mean, what happened?
Back in the Air Force when I ironed my underwear was wrong. So stressed. So bad.
You make me drink 4 quarts of water, it's not going to stop, bro. I mean, then I ran into him as a contractor as his first time. Like, remember me? But tell those stories. It's part of the veteran experience, because kids hear these stories like other podcasts, other stories, and it's always about, I jacked this Taliban team with a javelin from 3 miles away. Like, well, if it doesn't hit that criteria, it's not a real story.
Right.
Thank you so much. Appreciate what you do, man.
No, thank you. I love doing this podcast. I love coming on here with you guys. It's fantastic. So
yeah. But no, I mean, pretty great life. We just got to figure out how to live it.
And pay it forward. And keep paying it forward, because we're all blessed to be here, because there's people all along the same spectrum that aren't that actually did sacrifice it all too. So, I know that's what Memorial Day is about, but Veterans Day is just lockstep with that. And I always think like, oh, this is the one where it's like, oh yeah, actually thank me for my service, I guess, whatever. But I just always go back to that, man, where it's just like shit. Like, but for the grace of God, go I. And I know my beautiful wife would come on this podcast and tell you that without his intervention and her being in my ear, I'd probably still be subjecting myself to some pretty gnarly crap, which is the only thing that moves the RPM gauge. So,
you guys ever work ops before, by the way?
What's
Anybody
that?
ever work operations? Like regiment or any of that? Vic, you ever work ops?
SWAT, not SWAT and some Fed crap, but not.
I mean,
stateside.
So,
I work.
operation, huh?
I'm the operations chair for the school district, but not the same.
Little different.
Vick's Wet Work Incorporated.
Code. I understand his code. He's got a code going, man. No, in operations, at the end of every confirmation brief for a while there, was like no medals. That was kind of the goal. If you're planning something out, we don't want to ever put that unit in a position where they earn medals. Earn medals, that means we fucked up pretty bad. That was always a hard thing. It's like if we ever put somebody in a position where they earn the Medal of Honor as an operations team, we completely screwed the pooch. Silver Star.
A good point.
So it's a failure in planning on our end, or we didn't see something that we should have.
It is a good goal, but you also like, again, those micro acts of great heroic. I'm trying to say heroicism is like they exist everywhere. Like, it is insane what you can see when you're subjected to it. But yeah, no, you're right too. It's like prior planning prevents piss poor performance. I'm not an ops guy. Never was. I would say I'm probably a leader. I've never been a sanctioned leader by any law enforcement standard. And for that very reason, because I am a F it, let's do it live guy. And things get done. No, I mean, that's a weakness. If I was going to say that in an interview, that'd be it. But you're going to get the result you want. You're going to have to pay for it. But it's what it is. And man, again, excellent point. But also, like, there's that recognition point. And again, that push pull. I always had that. I had a great commander. One of my greatest Air Force commanders in the Guard was very much like a recognition. We need to get people medals guy. Because obviously that's how he was going to get to the Pentagon. And he did. But I'm not saying this in a bad way, but it's like, at some point, if you meet all the metrics and you do all the things, and there's an award, and I'm not saying the Bronze Star with Valor, but there's awards, there's medals. An award is a medal is an award.
I get it.
You should be recognized, but that is just how the system works, as opposed to what you're saying, which is, you're right. Like, well, maybe we should prevent that so no one has to like go charge a hill alone and capture 130 enemy and march them back, or just these things where it's like the dude just has like the plot armor of God on, and nothing can stop him, and it's like, it's unreal. Right. It's unreal when you hear these stories. You're like, are you kidding me? He's like, yeah, but no, you don't understand. I was half blind, a midget with a club foot, straightened out by the end of basic training, and then I grew 5 inches. But more importantly, I just was in the right place at the right time, and I did this obscenely insane thing. And that's always how it goes, right? You have to defeat MEPs, and then you have to like do some effery, and then you have to eat shit a minute, and then you go overseas and you win the Medal of Honor. And again, God love every one of those guys. But that's generally speaking. I'm speaking in a generalization, but that's the thing, right?
You see what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be nice to stop that? Like, you didn't have to.
Yeah.
We just had way more tanks and planes, and like,
we're talking about Romacha, and my mom she watches a movie. Will refuse to read a book because there's a movie out there. So why would I read? And she's like, why would they put an outpost in the middle of a valley like that and just leave it? I'm like, well, because it was there for 6 years. By the time this thing happened in 2009, it was a completely different war when they built this thing. They just continued to never ask the question, why is it still there? The fundamental shift of the outpost had changed from a district center on a throughput with the roads to now we're going kinetic. And we put them in a shit position because operations never asked the question. It's like, is it indefensible? Has the nature changed? And Afghanistan, since did we fight a 20-year war in Afghanistan? No, we fought 21-year wars. I wonder why we didn't do well. Not figure it out. Year to year to year. Everybody's going to fix it that year. And it just pisses me off because I got to patch up here. It's the final most decisive year in a row. It's a gesture with two pistols like this. You can't make this shit up. Like every year is like the final most decisive year in a row, right? It's one of my favorite matches. But it's like it was an ISAP patch shop. But I'm like, we never put them guys in a position to win because operations kept failing. And if we kept doing that, then operations failed. And we knew what we were doing it. So as Veterans Day rolls on, I'm going through the Afghanistan, like taking like stock again every year because it's that time of the year. I hate to say it, but yeah, it's the week I go through it with all the feels. But
yeah,
the same with Fallujah and all the guys who went through Fallujah. You can just they carry that weight with them. But Roma Shah coming through this week, it was like a big kind of check. Like do no harm, but also do no harm. Spell it two different ways, and it makes a lot more sense. You spell it N-O or K-N-O-W, but I'm wondering if we don't re-engage something. He's carrying that with him. So as a community, I'm like, God, it's good. It's great hearing the story. It's great meeting him in person. It's great recognizing him. But at the same time, it's a question I ask.
Yeah.
So a little moral introspection here, I guess. So appreciate it. Let me hear that this week.
We've been on here for a couple of minutes here. What do you guys say we hit words of wisdom? Huh? All right, words of wisdom. All right. Who wants to go first? I'll let you guys decide.
Well, in the spirit of what we were just talking about, you cannot suffer the past or the future. What you are suffering is your memory and your imagination.
That's good. I like it. Who wants to go next?
Go ahead, Bone.
All right. Jesus loves you, and your mama thinks you're handsome. So just know that.
Nice. Thank you. I needed that. Yeah. That was good. All right, Jess, what do you got?
Well, on the 10th of November, 1775, the court came alive. I don't know. I'm about wisdom now today.
You wisdomed out. It's all good, man. That's great.
It says thank you. So I guess thank you.
Yeah, I like it. Well, hey guys, thanks for doing this. Truly appreciate it. Hopefully you guys enjoy this as much as I do, and hopefully the listeners out there enjoyed it. Let's see, somebody just said it's the humble hustle. Find your why within. That's the award to yourself when you find it. That was from Everlasting Veteran on the Ticker Talker. Yeah.
If you ever watch the movie Outpost, there's a line that says it doesn't get better. And Roma Shah, and it's actually on the back of his book. It was described by the platoon previous to them, and you can take that to mean it's never going to get better. It's always going to be shit, right? And the way they took it in that red platoon was that this is the best day you're going to live, earn it each day. And that's the way they looked at it. And I was like, holy crap, that hits different. So I should hit the book for my words of wisdom. I'm sorry. I'm stealing it from someone.
That's okay. Hey, every ounce of any type of wisdom that I have, I stole it from somebody else because I do not have it in me to have my own wisdom. So I'm a thief when it comes to wisdom. I'm telling you, like it's cool. All right. Served with mace. M-A-C-E, mace.
Yep.
Who is Mace? M-A-C-E.
He was one of the guys they lost in Cop Keating.
Oh, okay.
Ty Carter was actually trying to pull him when.
Oh, okay. I'm tracking.
Yep.
So that's Everlasting Veteran from the Ticker Talkers. All right. With that, hey guys, thanks. Truly appreciate it. To all the listeners out there, if you're struggling, need help, anything like that, don't forget the VA does have some great resources. You can always dial 988, press option 1. You can always text 838-255 or go to veteranscrisisline.net and click on that chat icon. Any of those options will put you in contact with somebody that can help you out. But remember, one veteran life lost is one too many. I care about you. The crew cares about you. The entire veteran community cares about you. So please reach out for help. And if you're out there, you're not struggling, reach out to the buddies you serve with, ask them how they're doing. If they need that helping hand, please give it to them. All right, fellas, one last time, thank you very much. Truly appreciated. To everybody out there, stay motivated. Change your socks.
No more 22. On to the journey and finish the fight.